Happy Friday morning to you, Eric. Just another update in our potential Sundance offering here. Couple of things I wanted to show you today, things we've been working on this week. Offline base imagery is the first one I'm going to show you, and then the other one is attachments. So same Android tablet as last week. I'm going to show you an iPad next week, don't worry. What we're looking at here is basically a republished ArcGIS Online map here. So last week I showed you, and we could see all the culverts data. I've actually zoomed in to a subset of the data. The reason for that is because of this imagery that you can see here. So let me walk you through what this imagery is. I basically went out to the website that you showed me and spent more time there and grabbed I think 6 separate TIFF tiles, or separate TIFFs, but I mean they essentially form tiles here. And then loaded them into ArcMap 10.1 on the desktop, and then simply mosaic those together, so it made it one single big TIFF, and then generated a pyramid from that, so you've got the different tile levels. And then I think, I can't remember what else I did. Oh, we had to reproject it as well, since it was in the wrong projection. It didn't sit very well on the base map. And then the third step was to actually publish this as a tiled service in ArcGIS Online. So the same way you can do this in ArcGIS Server, you can serve out these tiles as raster tiles in ArcGIS Server. You can set up the same kind of service in ArcGIS Online. So within our account, I basically pushed this up as a service, and now it's it's a tiled base. Well, it could be a base map, but I haven't set it as a base map. So it's now a tiled service being served up from ArcGIS Online. So in this view, you're looking at three data sets essentially. You're looking at a streets data set in the background. You're looking at the imagery on top of that, and then you can see the culverts data. And it's only 6 or so culverts that you've got here that are visible. So we've got the 3 layers. And as I say, at the minute we're online. I think this is Twin Falls here. So. And the detail here is actually quite. The TIFF imagery is, I forget what it was set to, but it's very detailed imagery. We can get down to see to car level. Now, one of the limitations of ArcGIS Online is it limits how far we can zoom in. So if I zoomed one level below this, I believe we would lose the imagery. So they kind of got it set at this zoom level. So for the application, we're going to have to set both this imagery and, when we go offline, the offline imagery to this zoom level. So one thing I needed to add to what I was just saying about the work in ArcGIS 10.1. Once we'd actually got the service pushed up to ArcGIS Online as a tiled service, the next thing I did was to actually generate a tile package within ArcMap 10.1, which is what resides on the device locally. So a tile package is basically a small database that contains all of the tiles for all these different resolutions as you zoom in and zoom out, that are stored locally. So it's just a bunch of imagery basically that is referenced by the application, and then we can actually do the same as we're doing now, which is online in an offline mode. So it's a file essentially you copy onto the device, and when we get closer to release, I'll obviously walk you through all of this stuff. But I wanted to show you that TPK, as we call it, in this at the moment. So anyway, there's the imagery. We'll keep this one culvert visible in the viewer. What I'm going to do this week is actually just physically take this device offline. Last week we didn't do that, which was fine. I just wanted to save time. But this week the device is actually offline. So let's go there. I'm just bring up the same application. The imagery at some point in a second will probably disappear because we've now got no server connection. This is just cached data. So when I do this, I think it's going to disappear. There we go. You notice we've just got the culverts, and again that's still in memory. So what I'm doing here is loading offline maps. And basically what that's doing is referencing. I think last time we were just referencing the feature layer, the culverts data, so that's all we had. This week we've got the culverts data, and we're now referencing that TPK. So let's just zoom out just to show you that we're not doing anything too clever. Well, we are doing something clever, but it's not. I'm not trying to kid you that we're still online. We're not. There's an aeroplane actually in the corner that says we're offline, so this is actually physically offline. We're now looking at data locally. Alright, so that's the TPK, and that's offline data, and we would obviously need to generate a bigger area for this TPK to cover the area that we're looking at. So whether it's by region or whether it's by the whole of Idaho, I mean, when we have that conversation with John, we'll have to talk about that. But for this demo, this imagery actually works quite well. Good. Let's go back online. So the one thing I wanted to do, other than show you the TPK stuff, was I wanted to show you the attachments, and we've been working on those as well. So let's go back online. The Android device is now online. Let me make sure that we now load the online data. You can see that street data being pulled in. So we're now back online. We're not pointing at the device anymore for the data. We're just pointing at the server. So let's look at attachments now. One thing you're going to see here is I'm hoping actually is one of the issues we've got that I mentioned last week. I'm going to let's do this first. I'm just going to try and bring up the data for in non-edit mode for that particular feature. If I can tap it properly. So there's the culverts data. Actually, there's an attachment to that one. Okay, let's not use that one. Let's use a different one. Okay, I actually want to make an attachment, so I'm glad I checked that. There's another one right there. Okay, so let's tap that one. And what I want to do is make sure that there's no attachment. Okay, so that's good. So we're good there. There's no attachment as part of that feature. Great. Okay. Let's just tap that. Not doing very well with my tapping. So what I want to do is to go into edit mode. I want to set us in edit mode, and then we want to bring up that edit box that you've seen before. These points are small. We may have to make these points slightly bigger to help. There's a certain area that the tablet recognizes when you tap, and if points are too small, you're not hitting that point. It's more difficult to actually bring up things, so we may have to set these to slightly bigger. So that there's a component here. Now this component, this thing is called a component. So it's a pop-up. It's got a close button. It's got all of the data that is contained within this is set here, and this is empty because I think I set these up myself and didn't add any data to them. But that's a component. Now this is this is actually the key one that's causing us a problem at the minute. You'll see in a minute it jumps around. The drop downs here, these combo boxes, they don't work properly. It's all a product of the fact that this component was built for web use in the office, and it wasn't built for mobiles. And mobile and PCs are different, and the way some of these things work is slightly different. So I've asked Esri, can you either give us a fix for this, a short-term fix, or roll it into your releases coming up? So Esri have got a release, the Flex team have got a release coming up in a month, which will fix some of these things. Like I know that the fact that these roll off the side, that's fixed, and I'm hoping they're going to fix some other things. There should be a second release before we go live in May, which again I'm hoping is either going to fix some of these things I'm pointing out to them, or they're going to give us some quick fixes for the time being. So there are a few things sitting with Esri that I'm hoping they're going to help us with to get past. And see that jumping around, that's the key one for me. I mean, clearly that isn't going to work too well. It's one of the reasons I'm not sharing this with you at the minute, because I want to get these things ironed out, the code for you to play with. I want to get these things ironed out before I have you work with it. So there's some other things that we're talking to them about beyond this, but at the minute the key issues we're looking at are basically in their core code as far as I know. So anyway, I was going to say to you, there's an attachments button right there. I'm going to tap that. We'll have to bring this down. We'll get the jumping around. But we've got the option now to choose a file to attach. So let's imagine that one of the field guys has taken a picture of this culvert. By choosing that, we actually go to the device and we interrogate the device for the types of files you can attach. And in this case, we've only got audio and image files on it. There could be video as well if we had any video. So let's just attach culverts image that I've already got. Submit that. And you'll actually see the culverts information in that little window here. If we had a few more, we could actually see them all. We could scroll across and we could see them all. So that's that. We've attached it. We're good to go. I'm going to close that window, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back online, and let's just double check this. If my tapping works. Come on, tapper. No. One more time. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so there's the culverts data. So again, you saw there were no attachments before. Now we've got attachments. That's actually updated the server, so that information is now attached to this, all the attributes, and it's part of that feature. So if we now tap that, we get to see the culvert. So we're good to go. Now that works offline as well. We could have walked through the same process and gone back online and done the same thing, but I just wanted to show you there. So good, excellent. I was going to make one more point that I put into present next month. There's we've got a big conference, a big dev conference where all the brain boxes get together. I mean, it's a sort of international conference actually, and I put into present on this work that we're doing, and they wanted us to do it. So I'm actually presenting what we're doing together at this conference. So that should be nice. I'll tell you more about that closer to the time. But anyway, there's your Friday update. I hope you enjoy your long weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks, Eric.